This is MediScribe Insight. Today we are talking about how to prevent diabetes type 2 mellitus. So you find that this one has to do with lifestyle modification. You see, so yes, it's all about controlling the lifestyle of one. So you find that for example, some people eat throughout the day. Some they even wake up to eat throughout, even during the night. So you find that every time you eat something, the levels of insulin in the body are going to be to be high, which means every time you put something in the stomach, there are going to be the release of insulin that makes the release of insulin that makes the glucose that is going to be produced from those food that you have eaten to enter the cell. So you find that since you eat all the time, the levels of insulin will remain high always throughout the day. So let me just give an illustration on the diagram. So these are the hours. So let me just see rabbit and start it afresh. So you find that these are the hours. Let's say 80. Let's say 80, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So these are the hours. These are so this is insulin. These are the hours. This here on the down here, these are hours. These are the levels of what? Of insulin. You see, these are levels of insulin. Let's say, for example, if they say the maximum will be 1 to 4, the minimum is 1. So you find that when you eat at 8, the levels of insulin will be high at that time because glucose that is being released from the food that you have eaten after the absorption has taken out. So find that the levels of insulin will be high because it wants the glucose to be absorbed into the cell. Now you find that as the glucose decreases from the blood, it's decreasing because it is entering into the cells. So you find that as the glucose decreases, you find that the insulin as well decreases. So you find that if you eat, let's say for example, you eat at 10 and you eat at 8, so which means when it came to 9, it was a peak. Now it is dropping. When it reaches 10 because of the levels of glucose that are being decreased from the blood. So you find that now when you keep on eating, let's say for example you eat every hour, you find that always the levels of glucose will remain high, and this high, it is bad for the body. So this high insulin is bad for the body because the insulin is too much. Now the body, those receptors for insulin, that where insulin binds to allow glucose to enter, they'll become what? They'll become resistant. To insulin, and hence you are going to suffer from diabetes type 2 mellitus or diabetes mellitus type 2. You see, so if one could control the lifestyle modification, what I'm talking about is, let's say for example, instead of you following the normal pattern, for example, in your country you are eating 3 times, instead of you following that pattern, but it's better for you to be eating when you feel hungry. When you eat when you feel hungry, you are going to find that the levels of insulin will not be always high in the blood, because by the time you feel by the time you feel angry, meaning the levels of the insulin in the body, they are low, which means insulin will only be high after I've eaten, and most of the time it will not rise, meaning meaning the insulin will not be high in your body, in your blood. This one, it reduces the level of the receptors of the cells rejecting the insulin, or in other terms, this one, it makes your body not to to develop resistance to what? To your cells. So you find that another tip again, for example, here in Zambia, where people are living under the equator, there is slow digestion. You find that the digestion here in Zambia is very slow. So you find that if you eat, let's say for example, you eat at 8 and again you go and eat at 12 or 13, you find that the food that you have eaten, because the slow digestion is still being digested and the insulin is still high in your body. So you find that when you eat again, following the pattern, that traditional pattern of let's say 3 times, because here in Zambia you follow the pattern of eating 3 times during 3 times 24 hours. So when you follow that, you find that your insulin levels, because of slow digestion, your insulin levels will always be high. There will be no time when the insulin levels will be low. So you find that your cells, as you continue, you find that your cells will remain what? Your cells will develop resistance to the insulin because it's always there. Yes. Again, the we eat, again, you find that there is habit of eating junky foods. For example, like fries, these things, fries, pizzas, and so on and so forth. All this, because there are a lot of refined sugars, high sugars. These ones, they can cause, also they can contribute, or they can pose a risk for the chances of you developing to diabetes type 2. So so what are the complications? So you find that because there's when you develop resistance to diabetes, to resistance, you are going to have one, because there's no energy that is entering into the what? Into the cells, meaning you'll be weak, and most of there'll be dysfunction in most of your cells. You are going to develop coronary heart disease. You are going to develop because remember this glucose is needed for your cells. For the cells to survive, they need glucose. Now imagine a situation whereby there's no glucose. So which means one, the cell will start damaged. Either the cell will start dying because there's no glucose. Find that because the cells are dying, find that they will be damaged into the eye. We are going to have because for the clotting, for example, you're going to have slow wound healing, because that one requires energy for it to take place. You're going to have itchy skin, because you find that there's no energy in the cells. So you find that the cells will die off. Yes. So these are the complications that you are going to have. Sexual disorders, wound heal slow, peripheral neuropathy, coronary heart disease, eye damage, diabetic neuropathy, cerebrovascular disease, candida, and itchy skin. These are the cells that you are going to develop because of diabetes type 2. These are the complications that you are going to develop. So subscribe for more. If you want to know, if you want to be updated about the medical tips, subscribe. This is Mediscribe Insight. Subscribe, hit the like button. Okay.